Welcome back to another episode of Wisdom in the Room podcast. I'm live from LA.
Let's go.
Can't believe it. Alright, back to LA.
I really enjoy your singing.
Do you?
It's one of my favorite things.
Oh, see, now I do sing all the time. My friend Brian was telling me yesterday. He was like, you know what I love about you, man? I was like, nah. He was like, man, you always have a song in here. He said you're always singing, and it's not like trying to brag or like trying to, listen to me, but it's just like I literally have like a jukebox in my head. I probably have 1 million songs downloaded. And it's like,
I think I could challenge you to that.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. You stick around long enough, you'll see that it's like it's the most random of songs.
Yeah.
You know? Start singing
I sing about food.
Ooh, okay.
I sing to my food sometimes.
You might have me beat. I don't know. I'm like, I don't sit down slow enough. Like I like my food is there and I don't get enough time to serenade it with my lyrics and things of that nature. So it's like, you just go get in my stomach.
Love it.
But I do dance when I eat.
There you go.
If the food is good, I do dance.
Right?
If it's bland.
So that burrito is not that good, though.
I wasn't dancing. But I told you though, that if I would have been in restaurant, plate comes out sizzling, have a nice little Corona there. Sprinkle overs, you just like all my tacos. I probably would have been dancing and all of that, but it was a little cold by the time I brought it back. So
there you go.
That's on me. Well,
welcome to LA.
Welcome to LA. I love it. I love it. But all right, so who am I with? All right. Here we go. Welcome to another episode. Welcome to another episode of Wisdom in the Room podcast. I am your host, Matthew Gibson, and today I am with my friend, Derrica Barbie.
Yes.
Derrica Barbie.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you for picking me up from the airport. Thank you for showing so much love. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Definitely. So, before we get into it, once you, obviously they know your name, Derrica Barbie. Tell the people a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Wherever you're from. You can go in a little depth if you want to. Tell people where you're from and something unique about yourself.
Yeah. So born and raised in North Carolina, and moved to LA a year and a half ago. So living and thriving in LA right now, which I'm enjoying. And something unique about myself. I'm one of 5 kids. That's kind of fun. And I'm an Enneagram 3.
Enneagram 3. So you might have to break the
I am, in short, okay. I am a perfectionist.
Okay.
And in every sense of the word. So here we are.
Go over there. That could be the first tangent right there. Perfectionism. Boom.
Yep. I just like to people please,
Okay. I can relate. Like you said, you was telling me earlier, unhealthy 6 is a...
it's an unhealthy 3.
Okay, so when I'm unhealthy, I'm perfectionism and people pleasing. Is that what the...
Basically, we just create ourselves to be whatever someone wants us to be.
Wow. how.
It works well for me in a lot of circles. And I work in, so I should say this, I work in film and TV.
Nice.
As like my main thing now. But I also like have so many hustles on the side.
Hustling. See, I'm popping all these different tangents we can go on. The art of hustling. Right? You gotta hustle in these big cities too.
You have to. I mean, like, you don't make it. And it's also like a networking thing.
True.
So like I hustle working at, food places or whatever, because you're going to meet a lot of people and you never know what contact that is.
Yeah.
And then you also got to pay the bills so that one day you can do your true love and then you don't have to hustle anymore.
That's hustling with a purpose.
Yes.
That's hustling with a purpose. You said something earlier before we was talking, and you was like how some people will come out here and think that's just it. But like when you come out here, you gotta hustle because like it's just one thing. It's like 20,000 other people trying to do the same.
Everyone thinks they're really good.
Yeah.
And they might be. Yeah. And I'm so glad that their mama really believed in them. But at the end of the day, you move to a city with a place that everyone is beautiful. Everyone is really good at singing. Like even the homeless person is really good at singing. So what's going to be different about you that makes someone say like, wait, they have it, whatever it may be. So you got to hustle. You can't just think like, I'm going to move and I'm going to make it.
This is going to happen.
It's just going to happen.
Manifest this.
Like, no, oh my gosh. LA and manifesting.
Just manifesting. Not
the moons and the stars and the alignment and horoscope. I'm like,
they say nothing works unless you do.
There you go.
If you ain't working it, it's just not gonna happen.
Simple.
That's not how manifesting works.
No.
This is not how
all the energies, all the vibes.
It just counts.
Things I didn't have in my vocabulary a year and a half ago.
Until you moved here, right? You gotta learn to speak the lingo. Nah, let me stop. But
Mr. I wear Vans.
I do. Like I told you, they should go ahead and sponsor me. Like I've bought enough Vans in my life that
wow.
Like, but honestly, they are loyal because they support big feet men, and I'm a big foot man, and like, I'm grateful that I can just call on Vans and be like, hey, I need a size 15, and
there you
get
go.
them shipped out for like $50. Let me get 2 of them,
There you go.
But like, I do like Vans, and I guess that's a common shoe out here.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. All right, so. I'm gonna skip the perfectionism part.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, cool. We won't go there. Maybe I'll kick off. We could go off on that a little bit later. All right. So, one thing that I've been thinking about over the last 3 years, I'll say. Right. So I played football. 2016, I was with the Denver Broncos. Got released. After that, I went to Canada. Played in Montreal for about a year, close to a year. At the end of June of 2017, basically my football career was over. I just didn't know it yet. So, but it was over. And at that point in time, it began this process of realizing that, you aren't what you do. So like I started recognizing that for so long, I identified myself as a football player. Like if anybody asks me that, who are you? Well, I'm a football player. Not knowing that like, that's just what I did, right? But like there came this point in time when I was working at a car wash, and I've said this probably like 3 or 4 times already on this podcast, so people probably get tired of hearing it, but they're gonna hear it. But I was working at a car wash, and I was sweeping the parking lot. And I think it was God talking to me, but it was just like him revealing to me that like, if you continue to identify yourself with the things that you do, you're never gonna forget about yourself. Right, like so. If I'm thinking about like I was in the NFL, and that's like for me, it was the high of highs. And so I was like, yeah, I'm a professional athlete. Now I'm sweeping a parking lot. It's like almost gonna jump off a bridge if you think about how low, I guess. To just in that mindset, but like what that taught me is that you aren't what you do. Right, so your identity is separate from the things that you do, but like. How you can express who you are through the things that you do. So like looking back on it now, if I could go back and tell my younger self, I'm like, you're passionate about football. You work really hard to be good at it. So you express yourself by playing it and doing the things you need to do to be great at it. right? And being a great teammate and all these other things. But there's so much to you too. So look at those and cultivate those gifts. So like looking at myself now and the things that I do, working with children and education. And so like, I know I like to mentor. I know that I am a leader. I know I'm a good listener. I know that I'm an encourager. All these different intrinsic qualities about me. And I guess that could make up who I am.
Right.
And I can express that through that. I express it through this podcast. I express that through writing. So like, I guess the question I'll ask you is this, is how do you express yourself in the things that you do?
Yeah. So it's funny because like thinking about identity and thinking about identity in 2020 as like a Black woman,
That's real.
a Black woman who like feels some type of way about 2020, someone who's living in a big city during a pandemic, an essential worker during a pandemic, all those things like can make you feel like this is my identity. Okay. And so that will make me express myself in different ways, right? But I would just say like, when I think of identity, this will get me to how I express myself. I think of like what uniquely makes me, right? And I think it's my beautiful brain, the way that I think about things. So that's my hustle mindset. Like I express myself through a hustle because I'm like, let's do this. What if these people collaborated? What if I network here? What if like people got to hear from this person? I think of like the heart that I've been given. I'm a strong believer and that will turn a lot of people off. But I think of that of like, no. Like that means I just want to connect with people and I want to be genuine and I want to like sit down and really know who you are. So I express that through like coffee dates, asking really deep questions and hanging out and approaching people. Like, I want to know everyone's story. I don't care where you came from. I don't care what you believe. That doesn't make me like want to run from you. That doesn't call for me to like try to save you. It's not my job. Not my job at all.
Yeah.
But like to know you, for you to be known, like I can do that. And so like I express myself through like working really hard and hustling, by connecting with people and getting to know them. But then also like I am uniquely made to just be, to just exist in this world.
I do.
Like, one thing about me is so I love yellow shirts.
Okay.
Clearly. Didn't even plan this today. Just want you to know.
Yeah.
But it's like, cause I just want to be a light. Like I want my identity to reflect that. And so like, how do I just like go about and be in this world? So that like when people interact with me, they feel that there's something different by either what I did, what I said, how I interacted with them. The masks suck right now. Like it's great, protect the people. Yeah. But like one of my things is like I can smile at someone and be like, dang, like that was fun. To like there's a connection there, you know? Now I have to like smile with
my eyes, right?
And I get squinty and it's not great all the time. Or I like am tired and people are like, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm cool. Just smiling at you.
Just smiling.
Smile back. Come on.
Yeah. So like it is like what you're doing, and I get it. It's like you're not what you do, but like there are parts of you that makes you up to be a person in this world, to exist around people.
Yeah, I think too. Like I love that. Everything that you just said. I think one thing that I've realized this year for me is that like when I'm able to express myself, I find so much more joy in life, and like I think that's one of the secret codes to joy, is being able to express who you are. Yeah, not feeling like you gotta hide, not feeling like you can't be. Right, and like even like if you are doing a job that you know is like, I don't want to be doing this, but if you still can find a way to express who you are, like in the midst of that, I feel like you can connect with purpose. Yeah. Like you're able to connect with purpose and then being able to, find purpose in whatever it is that you're doing, even if it's something that you're not going to be doing forever. So like, especially what you're saying, like having a hustler's mentality, I think that's important, right? Because you're able to express yourself first and foremost. And then secondly, you're able to connect in purpose in some way. So it's like, all right, I see the purpose in this. Yeah. It's a means to an end. And now it makes sense. Like, all right, I think about verse in James, right? Of count it all joy, right? And when you're facing different trials and things like that. But like, I take that whole verse of it meaning that like in the midst of hardships or in the midst of maybe you're doing something that you don't want to be doing right now, you can find joy because of what is to come.
And that's the part, is that I think like a lot of people don't want it. They're like, why am I doing this? This is not my long term. Like, this is not the end all be all, you know? And I'm just like, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be.
No.
There is more to come if you just keep going.
Yeah.
You know, like I think, even especially in 2020, like this is a hard year for a lot of people. And some people don't want to say like, man, I've done well in this year.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to make people feel bad.
Yeah.
If you're breathing, you're doing well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you got let go from a job and you now have to work in the food industry or sweeping up at some car wash or whatever, until you can get back to wherever you want to be, like, you're doing well.
Yeah.
And the people that like stayed in those jobs, that already had those jobs, like, you're doing well. Like, to be human and just to like make it to the next day, people like forget that. You know, they're just like, this is not what I want to do. Like we've joked about you moving to LA. Yeah. And you don't want to struggle or whatever.
6 figures.
6 figures.
I'm just gonna manifest it right here. If I come right here,
please throw it out there. But like all these people move here and they don't want to do these other jobs. They're like, I just want to go make music. I just want to act. I just want to be creative. That's great. But like, it's okay to serve somewhere else. Like, you know, bloom where you're planted.
Oh my goodness.
But also like, don't be afraid to like know that like you can uproot and be planted again and go bloom somewhere else.
That's so crazy that you said that. I promise that's like a confirmation, like, oh my goodness, what? Like, honestly, so my executive director, she said something. She said that to me like in the summer. We were just having a conversation. And she had said the exact words, bloom where you're planted. Yeah. And I was like, dang. And I kind of like wrote that on my board. And that's kind of been like something that I've stuck to throughout this first half of the school year. It was just like, bloom where you're planted. Just kind of reminding myself of being present where you are. Because like where you, like what you were saying too, like, oh, you know, I'm not where I want to be quite yet. You know, thinking about the future. Right. Versus like, look at where you are. This is soak it all up, bloom, bloom, bloom. Like, even if you are uprooted, you can go somewhere and be built even stronger because you soaked up all the nutrients that you needed for this present season in your life.
If we knew the future, would we still want it?
Who knows? That's a good question.
Like, if we knew what was to come, will we still want it? Right. Like, I've joked on Instagram, so I'm like in pilot season right now. Okay. Which is like funny that everyone knows now. Yeah. Because that was supposed to go to
just a select group. The close
10 people. Oh man, 10 people, but here we are. And it's like, if I knew a year and a half ago what the testimony would be now. That like when I moved to LA, that 6 months in, 7 months in, a pandemic was gonna shut down. You know? And I moved here to like do whatever in the entertainment industry. Would I have still gone? And then like, what would that have impacted? Right. You know? And I think so many people focus on the future or like the next thing that they just miss the thing that's happening now.
That's important. That's a lot. That's a lesson I think I've had to learn.
Yeah.
Like learning it this year, learning it from past seasons of just being so focused on the future that like by the time you get to where you're at, you recognize that you don't even remember half the stuff that happened. You don't. Or you realize like, man, I really did not celebrate. I did not enjoy it. Like I look back on my playing career sometimes, like professionally, and I start to think of like, I did not, I guess, appreciate how much that experience in itself because I know where I was. Oh, I want to get to I want to be best. I want to get back to the NFL. Like I lived in Canada. I lived in Montreal, rent free for like almost 3-4 months, and like I definitely should have explored more.
I mean, you were like neighbors with Drake,
right? Kidding. My cousin. No, I'm kidding. But Yeah, essentially, like I really, I look back on it, I just would have not took it so serious, and not say like I would have wasted the moment, but just been like, dude, enjoy this, enjoy this moment.
Well, because then there's like, okay, so you made it to that point, so what's next? So now you want more,
right?
So like you made it to the NFL, you want to be the best in that, okay?
Yeah.
Then what? Your body's gonna give out at some point. You're gonna retire, then what? Oh, Hall of Fame. Okay, then what?
There's always more.
There's always something else. What is making it? You know?
I know. And then, you know, it's sad sometimes. Sometimes, like when I first stopped playing, or like let's say when I first got cut from the Denver Broncos, I was really like embarrassed.
Of course.
I was embarrassed because I got cut, but when you really think about it, it's like, bro, you still played in the NFL. You still did what 1% of the world can only do. And like not many people can say they ever made it to that level. So it's not really to be embarrassed about. It's a business. And I think people don't understand that part of it.
Yeah.
But it's like you don't, it's okay. It's continue. It's okay. So, I don't know. It's this year is growing me a lot, and I'm learning, you know. I'm learning a lot about myself, and this will be one of the years I kind of reflect on. So like 10 years from now, right? 10 years from now, if you're having a conversation with somebody, like, oh, just shooting the breeze about it. Give me 3 words that you would use to describe 2020.
Yeah, I'm gonna cheat.
Okay.
And it's gonna be 3 words, but it's like a word hyphen word together.
I like that.
So it's like 6 words.
Oh, okay.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna write this down.
So they're all like, I think about life, right?
Okay.
Like, because in 2020, life is the thing that you either have it or you're losing it, right? Or you're watching someone else lose it.
Yeah.
And so when I think of 2020, the 3 defining words for me is life changing, life giving, and life. Like I don't know how I want to say that last one. I'd probably say like just life, right?
Just life,
like
yeah.
I just want to think of life that encompasses everything. Like life is changing, moments are life changing, things are life giving. I am finding things to have more, like to be life giving, but I'm also just valuing like a life, like whether that's the way I wear a mask and like protect someone else, whether that's the like serving at a restaurant or just like saying thank you to people, being kind to myself, like to value life right now, you know, has been like what I would think of 2020. When I think of 2020 and it's 2030 and someone's talking and they're like, hey, tell me about like that year. Like, can you believe we went through that? And it's like, yeah, like life. I just think of life for that year.
Yeah.
And all the aspects of it.
Yeah. I think this is a year that's I think a lot of fruit could come out of this season. Out of life. A season of life, and 10 years from now people look back and I would hope that the lessons that was learned in this year, good, bad, and different, is something to build on to. So like view of like learning, like those life giving and life changing, like that is things that you continue to build on as the years keep on going, you know?
Right.
Yeah. I think it's beautiful though. Like,
yeah. We think about all the moments we've had, you know, like it's December.
Yes.
It's felt like 2 years in one.
Yeah.
But think about how many months ago did the George Floyd thing happen? Think about like how many months ago did Breonna Taylor's life get taken, right? And then like no one was accounted for her life.
Right.
And think about like all the lives that have been like taken during this pandemic. I think about all the life sacrifices and the giving of my life for other people to do well in this. And that's just like probably from what? June, July.
Right, so much.
Like January through June, I'm like, what happened?
Right.
What happened? I'm like, oh wait, I turned 30 this year.
Wow.
Like,
So much.
there's so much life around that. I had friends visit at the beginning and then went home, and 2 weeks later, we were locked inside.
Stay home.
Stay home.
Don't come outside.
You know, like, I was like, oh, that was so life-giving. This is going to be a great year. 30, it's going to be thriving, you know?
2020 vision.
Vision board in the trash. No, I'm kidding.
Try again next year.
But, like, you know, there's so much wrapped up
Yeah.
in all of that.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. It's kind of off the script a little bit, but as a black woman, what was...
Wait a minute. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I know. I was like, yo, hold on, I'm black. Hold on. Come on. This,
Oh, this thing. Okay.
Yeah. So as a black woman, how has, I guess, seeing Breonna Taylor's, you know, her life basically seeming like it doesn't matter in the eyes of the justice system, how has that affected you throughout this year? Like, how has it inspired you? How has that mentally, you know, how is that for you?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I hurt still for her family.
For sure.
Like, I still think about them. And I still think about, like, I went to school with girls that looked just like her. I was one of those girls, like, you know. It's hard because in the South, like growing up in the South, I will claim this. I was a token black friend, person, whatever, for a lot of friends in the South. You know what I mean? And LA is the first place that, like, there's so many of us now. Like, there's so many cultures and things like that. But it takes it to a different level. And so, like, this is the first time I really experienced protests and people being really, like, mad. And expressing that and people really grieving. And I would say, like, it affected me for sure. Like, dang, like, this keeps happening. We can't even, like, just be in our homes anymore.
Right.
Because it really does just feel like an attack of the skin color at this point.
Yeah.
But also encouraged of, like, her life is not going to just be, like, Breonna Taylor anymore. Like, her life will be in history books.
Yeah.
People will know her name.
Yeah.
And what it stood for. People will remember the moments of what they did. I'll remember when I was at the intersection, like one of the busiest intersections in LA, just like weeping. And in that moment saying, like, no more. Right? Like, I hate that it was her life. But, like, no more. No more. Like, I'm going to do whatever for no more. A lot of people are going to do whatever for no more. And it's time to wake up and, like, face it. And, like, it's so funny, I almost today was like, I'm gonna post again about Breonna Taylor, because it's like,
let's not forget it.
Never forget.
Hashtag never forget.
Right. Because again, like, when I see her, I see me. When I see her, I see my younger sisters. You know, like, I see her and I see my cousins and I see even my mom. Like, there's not an age limit on this either. So it's hard because, like, I got numb during the years. Like, it just kept happening. But this year I was like,
I'm sick of this.
Beat that. Like,
I'm sick of it.
I'm so sick of it.
I definitely can understand. And then I think, like, just to be in the house and then, like, you know, it happened back to back.
Back to back.
Like, what? No. Yeah, like, you know, F that.
Yeah.
And it definitely makes you want to do things. But I'm grateful.
It made me talk to people more.
Yeah. And
not just like, hey, I'm going to talk to you because you're, like, my friend, especially, like, my white friends, you know, like, they can ask me anything. I'm not going to shun them for asking things that they don't know. I'm not going to make them feel bad about things or whatever. I'm not going to be like, slavery, I get a pass. Like, you know what I mean? But I'm also, like, this year I was more, like, I'm going to tell you these things and we're going to have this conversation. And I'm going to hold you to it. Like, that's what I'll do. But also, like, if you don't get it, you don't get me. If you don't see that this is me as well, like, I don't understand. We've missed something in our friendship. I apologize that I wasn't authentic and genuine with you.
That's real.
And I apologize that I stole that gift from you. So now that you get the gift, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
You know?
Are those conversations hard to have?
For sure. My first initial was an email. I sent an email to 105 white friends that I knew. And just was like, let me tell you my story. Let me tell you how this affects me. Let me call you tomorrow. And got so many responses from it. And it led to a lot of great conversations. But also it's like that time that you have to go back and be like, hey, I'm going to tell you when you said that like kind of racist thing. I'm going to go back and tell you when like that was hurtful and you didn't realize it, or you thought you could say it because I'm a black friend of yours, right? Or like you said this about this, but I am a different, like you didn't think of me in that context because you know me, right?
Right.
It's all about being known.
That's good. I mean, like, that is draining too, I can imagine.
Oh,
very draining.
Oh, I stopped talking to people for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, like, because I know there were probably some of your friends that really wanted to know what they can do.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, all right.
Yeah. It's like, tell me what you did. It's like, that's the point.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to tell you, go figure it out, because I've had to figure out this world and navigate it. My parents had to figure it out and tell me how to navigate it. You know?
Right. And when you start thinking about your parents, parents, you start thinking about your ancestors.
See how I did that?
Yeah, no, alley-oop. Boom. I like that. Thank you. I appreciate that. You threw it up a couple times, but no, I was just waiting. No, you threw it up a couple times. I caught you. All right, but like, yeah, thinking about ancestors, right? Honestly, that's how we connected for the show.
Yeah.
Right. I posted something. Actually, I'm looking it up because I screenshotted it. I posted something maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago on my Instagram. I'm gonna read it. It says ancestral mathematics. In order to be born, you needed 2 parents, 4 grandparents.
How many fingers?
8 grandparents, 16 great-grandparents, 32 great-grandparents, 64 fourth-great-grandparents, 128 fifth-great-grandparents, 256 sixth-great-grandparents, 512 seventh-great-grandparents, 1,024 eighth-great-grandparents, 2,048 ninth-great-grandparents. For you to be born today, from 12 previous generations, you needed a total of 4,094 ancestors over the last 400 years. Think for a moment. How many struggles, how many battles, how many difficulties, how much sadness, how much happiness, how much love, how many love stories, how many expressions of hope for the future, I like that, did your ancestors have to undergo for you to exist in this present moment? Like, when you start thinking...
I get chills thinking about it. Yeah.
All them people.
Yeah.
All these people lived, died, for me to be here today.
Yeah. And that's you're one person.
Yeah.
And you have how many siblings?
I have an older brother and 3 older sisters. Right.
Like, so, like one person. And then another person. Yeah. Like, I get weepy thinking about it. Because I get weepy, like, just like, ooh, y'all, wait till I tell you this testimony of, like, a year. Or like, in the last few months, what I've gotten to do and be a part of. When I think about, like, me just living and breathing life, me just having life right now, like, they get to watch that and be like, dang, we never could have imagined.
I know.
Literally, you're my wildest dream.
My wildest dream.
Like, when I think about that, like, that's on shirts, that's on, like, people's quotes, bios, whatever. Yeah. But, like, wildest dreams, like, it's what you can even fathom. Like,
yeah,
I cannot imagine what will be for you. And you said, what, 400 years in that?
Yeah.
can't even imagine in 400 years.
Yeah.
Most of those people can imagine in 400 days or the next day.
Right.
You know, because of our
400
history.
years ago was slavery.
Like our history, you know. 400 years that you get to live and breathe and be an impact and mingle with people that look different than you and collaborate and create whatever and to like freely roam wildest dreams.
It's beautiful. It really is. And then, I think about the times where I want to give up.
Oh yeah.
It's like, thank God they didn't. Thank God, even though maybe some of them really did give up. I don't know. But you know, but it's like, I don't know. I can't even fathom it though at times. It's really deep when you really think about how far it goes back. Just thinking about that 12th, like the one who started it all. The generation that started it all. Like, what was his hopes? Like, did he see me? Did he have visions of me?
Right.
Like, or was he just thinking about, his next, my grandkids, if he had grandkids, right? He saw that. I think, sometimes I think about, like, what my ancestors would say to me if they were right here, right now. Like, if they were right, if they were in the room with me, what conversations would they have? Like, what was their thought process? Like, what was their doubts? What were their fears, sadness, you know?
Yeah, I'm like, who was the hustler?
Who's the hustler?
I want to like know who passed that down because I'm like, wait, my mom. Okay, wait, then my like grandmother. Okay, wait, I'm like, you know, I'm like, who was the hustler? Like, who passed that trait down?
Right.
But then who also was like my mom was a big break generational curses. It stops here. You will not be this, you know, like whatever. And so I'm just wondering like who thought and saw like, okay, one day this won't exist for our family. Who's gonna make it out of this? One day this won't be your identity. Like there's so much more to that.
Yeah.
You know?
Like who did that start with? That thought process. Like, nah, that's for me and mom, we gotta cut this out.
And who started changing that of like, okay, I'm gonna make sure that like how I raise her, how I raise him, that this passes down.
That's real.
You know?
My mom used to say that to me all the time too. So like intrinsically I grew up with this mindset of like, yo, I gotta break these curses. I don't wanna repeat the same mistakes. I don't wanna get like I promise you, it was definitely ingrained in me too.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like, oh man. But like the older I get, the more I realize that dang, it's coming into tuition. Not tuition. Tuition, you gotta pay that. But no, it's coming into fruition. And so like I think there was points in time where I was so afraid to become those curses again. And so like kind of kept me I would say like boxed in.
Yeah.
But recognizing that within me now, it's like my mindset has shifted. It's in that it has broken.
Right.
It's not gonna happen again. So it's like I'm becoming like a new generation of like a new thinking, of like a new wave. And when I think of it like that, I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like literally my great grandkids, so maybe 400 years from now, because of the decisions that I've made in my life, they are going to be in a much better place.
Yeah.
Mentally, how they see themselves will be in a much better place. I was having a conversation last night, and we was talking about process. We're talking about process, and this lady, she just started to say to me, she was like, you know, I think where you at, because you're beginning to understand the idea that you have to go through certain things, that it's not just for you.
Right.
That it's for future generations. And because you have gone through these things, you will be able to like give guidance and that wisdom based upon their experience.
Bloom where you're planted.
Bloom where you're planted.
Because someone else is going to be a little bud off of that.
Yeah.
And like, or a bee is going to, I mean, gosh, I love nature. But like, you know, like to take it from here to there. And who knew? Yeah. Full circle. Like I think about, I prayed, this will make me cry every time. Probably my best friend in LA right now. I didn't know her, didn't meet her, but I started praying for her years ago. Just of like who her future husband would be, kids, all of that, right? For this moment for us to like do life together and to like know who her husband is, to be like, your kid will be different, to pray for her future child, like all of these things of, man, if I wouldn't have like experienced that or been in that spot or had a like ancestors along the way that told me to like not break, like you're gonna break this, not be this, like I'm gonna pray over you. Praying, thank you Lord for praying grandmothers, great grandmothers, moms, all of that.
Yeah.
So that like also I'm like thinking about that. Who prayed so much in my family?
That's what I was gonna say. Just think about
all I do is pray. Like when I'm like, oh no, like I'm gonna pray for you, like I don't, like I mean it in that moment. Like a lot of people will be like, yeah, I'll pray for you, and I'm like, that was the prayer. But I'm like, who was it that was like, I want to pray and I want to journal it and I'm gonna write it down, because I have journals of prayers.
Yeah.
It affects the way I do relationships with people. I may meet you once, I might not ever know your name. But I know like there's a prayer for a man that wore this outfit that I saw one time in LA and just was like, my spirit moved around him. It's like, man, who did that to change the way that I would interact with people? Right. Not just like for my life, but like for whoever. Like if I ever have kids one day, like what will they take from that? If they have kids, like whatever. Yeah. But like even past my family, just the way that I'm with people, what was it that was passed down from them that made me interact in a different way? Yeah, I don't know. That's beautiful though. Yeah. Like, I love what you said about praying, just having those praying ancestors. My mom used to tell me a lot about her grandmother, so my great grandma. She said that woman would be in the church from the moment it opened to the moment it closed, just fasting and praying. And like, she believes that like a lot of those prayers really helped her. Like, you know, a lot of times you don't really recognize it. Like, you know, if you get technical, some people say you still have to be in agreement with it. Like, you can't just pray for somebody and the person you're praying for not in agreement with it. But I can. I do. Like, I think about that. Like, I used to pray for people I didn't like. Yeah. I was like, I don't really like them, but I'm afraid because it's about my heart, not theirs. Right. Maybe a little bit about them. Right. But like, I just think that those prayers definitely manifested. For sure. Manifested into what we see today. And I'm just grateful for my ancestors, and I think of one day I'll be there too. Like, I think about you remember, you seen Black Panther, right? Oh, okay. Are you kidding me? Just making sure, you know. It's like one of those things. It's a black card with both things now. Have you seen Black Panther? No? Jeez. Give me the black card. I like low key, maybe high key, need to be in Black Panther too. Why not? Manifesting right now. Speaking into existence. You heard it here first. What's new? That's it. But like, where's I going with that? Like, there's that part in the scene where like they're in the ancestral plane. It's so beautiful, and it kind of makes me think like, oh, I hope it's like that. But either way, just to see how like he went back and sweet Chadwick. Yeah. I hope it really was that welcoming for him. Right, and just being able to see his dad and his father before him. That is something like, I've never met my grandparents. They passed away before I was born. Wow. So just imagine like being able to meet with them. Like, I still have a great grandparent alive. That's beautiful. Like, it's something, you know? Like, you think about it and you're like, man, I'm the 4th generation of that. Yeah. Here we are. I still have all grandparents, you know? That's beautiful. And so it is like, I literally get to be their wildest dreams. Yeah. Like, to think about before this election, the first time I voted in college, 2008, Obama. A president. I mean, you know, it's not an ad. But like, just thinking about him, and I got to vote. My mom, my grandmother, great grandmother, who probably never would have thought that she was gonna see a black president. It's like, what? You know? Wildest dreams. Wildest dreams. The wildest dreams. So it's like, who am I to not dream? Right.
We might not have dreamed big. So like, we are ancestors' wildest dreams. And I think every day that like we're living, we're making history. So I think like, for you, when your great-grandchildren look back, what do you hope they say that my grandma Derrica did for me? Like, what do you
They don't call me that.
Grandma D, Grammy D,
Grammy D, wow.
Graham Cracker D.
She was a rapper now.
Okay.
Grammy D.
Yeah, bars.
Oh, some days I got them.
Grammy D was important. She was a change agent. What would you say? Yeah. So first of all, what is your hope for your next generation? What's your hope? What's your greatest hope for them?
Gosh, that's so hard because I like don't necessarily want kids.
Okay, you're right.
No. But like I do like. I hope I have lots of nieces and nephews, and I hope that they're like, even if I don't have like biological kids, there's a lot of kids that I claim. You know what I mean? And so I would like hope that they are a generation that they're movers and shakers. That they remember that I prayed for them. You know, I hope that the next generation would like take qualities to be kind to themselves and people. That they hustle, whatever that's supposed to look like.
They're gonna have to hustle.
They're gonna have to hustle.
They will have it.
But also that they would just like go and do and not ever doubt again. And that they be happy where they are. Happiness is not going to come through money. It's not going to come through how many likes or followers or views on the reels and TikToks.
Instant chat.
It's not going to come by like what people like about you. It's like that's an inner working thing. You know what I mean? So I just hope that this next generation like would understand like the fact that they're breathing and living and getting to do is so much more than I could imagine for them. If they achieve something out of that, great. But I don't care about achievements. I care that like they would be authentically themselves and know that like I prayed for that every day. And I prayed for them to break whatever else was supposed to like break them, you know?
That's beautiful. You gotta snap to that. Snap to that. I like that. And it kind of circles back to the one question about 2020, 10 years from now. But like, it's like, you know, the things that are growing out of this year will be some of the fruit that is in your future generation, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So let's snap back to the present. All right. Snap back to the present. What is the greatest lesson you've learned this year?
Probably to give myself more credit than I do.
You're a humble person?
It's hard to answer that, right? Like to be like, yeah, I'm humble.
You can brag on yourself. Go ahead.
Sit down.
Stand up.
Yeah, I think I do a lot of things and I don't need the credit or the accolades for it. And just I'm like, no, like it's fine, whatever. But like, man, give myself more credit. Like, I'm living in this life right now. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
It's not how someone would have thought. It's probably not how someone else would have done it. But like, I'm making it.
Credit.
You know, give yourself more credit.
I like that. Do you do you feel like you're bragging when you...
I used to.
Yeah.
See my Enneagram 3. Used to be like, don't like, and also I used to like be on staff for a religious thing and or a Christian organization. I'll say that religion makes people weird. But like, you know, it was like, hey, it's not about me, whatever. But like, man, but the Lord thought of me in that moment, and it's okay to like share with people like, you know what, 2020 is a hard year. I think we've given too much credit to the year 2020. I think that 2021 is going to be so much better. Like, stop giving credit to things that they have nothing to do with the circumstances. But it's okay to say, like, man, I felt really blessed, highly favored and really blessed in this time. And I've gotten to thrive in a lot of moments because there are other times that I didn't. And it's okay to share that because your sharing might be someone else's encouragement.
That's good.
You know?
That's good. That's a good way to look at it.
I have to think of that. Like, I got to see someone else make it, and that steered me on. And so, like, by me just, like, being happier or, like, having this joy or this light, like I talked about, that might give someone else just, like, you know what? One more day. One more moment. Like, let's try again.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I struggle with that, too. I can relate in the sense of feeling like I'm talking about myself too much, so I'm not going to say certain things.
Yeah.
I'm like, if somebody asks me, then I'll say something.
Yeah.
But you're right. That may be the encouragement that somebody needed to go another day. You know, it's not always about you. It's not what's happening to you. Yeah. It's not just about you, you know.
Because you can do that in a very different way. Like, you don't have to get into like, I got this role and this is how much money I made and this is like what credit I'm gonna get from it, or like, oh, I got this job and now I'm 6 figures and I live in this really nice house or whatever. But you can be like, man, I didn't see that coming. I'm really grateful for that moment that happened. Like, keep going. Who am I to tell you to stop? And that's, I think, what we gotta get. Like, transparency has to work in different ways. Like, you can brag, or you can just be like, come on. Like, I want to encourage you, and like, one day I want to get you here. Like, or how am I getting you there now? Like, you know, I hope my life is a living testament for others.
To see.
Yeah.
Open book.
Yeah.
The book of Derrica.
Some days.
Are you gonna write a book one day?
You're the third person, threes, that said I should. And I feel like I just want to give someone a journal and be like, here you go.
Same.
Like, here you go.
Take some lessons.
Because I like, when I think about writing a book, then I'm like, I think about that 3rd grade teacher that made me feel really bad about writing and made me like want to become a math major instead. Because I'm like, I can't write. And then I'm like, whatever.
You should write that book.
Maybe.
You should write it. I'll write a book, you write a book.
Ooh, we'll see.
All right.
Maybe I'll do an audio book.
Or you write the book and I'll do I'll be the one that reads it. I'll do a voiceover about me.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll do the voiceover for you. Nah, that's cool. Nah, I think when it comes, it'll come. And it's no need to force it or try to push it out. Because it'll come when it's naturally supposed to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm learning too. But I will write a book.
You should.
So
there's a lot in that head that people should know.
I know. Maybe it'll come out like while I'm on this trip, and I'll just start writing and
there you go.
January 1. Y'all got a new book. Nah, it's not that no, it's not gonna happen that fast though. But I love it. So last question for you.
Okay.
Last quit. All right, imagine for a second that you are in this huge auditorium, so big that it can fit 7.8 billion people. All right, that's the whole world.
They got binoculars.
Everybody got good seats.
Oh, great.
And it's socially distanced.
Nice.
Y'all got masks.
Awesome.
Okay. And they can't hear you speak behind this plexiglass because I'm protecting you. All right, so they come to hear you speak, all right, but they don't want to stay that long because it's kind of crowded. 7.8 million people in the auditorium. They came to hear you speak, and you have to give them a word of encouragement or some advice or some wise nugget that will help them go back to their parts of the world and be change agents within their communities, within their families, or within their spheres of influence. All right, so you got about like 30 seconds to 1 minute and 30 seconds to say something to them that's going to inspire them.
what would you say to the world?
What would I say to the world?
Mm-hmm.
I would tell them to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
That this is not as bad as you think.
Mm-hmm.
To go be kind to yourself, to others.
I like that.
To remember that you're human first. And out of that, you should go and change like everything around you. And that humans need humans.
Mm.
So let's just get back to being human and go do that. Like there is nothing else. 2020, 7.8 billion people. They need to be reminded that they're human. And whatever that is supposed to mean.
We're all in this together.
Yeah.
We're all in this together.
Like, you need each other. This hard work mentality, I can do this on my own, it ain't making it anymore. Like clearly we had to wake up and see we need each other more than we thought.
We're more interconnected than we think.
Every human too.
Mm-hmm.
Like I need the healthcare people as much as we need the teachers that don't get paid enough, as much as like we need the human, like the homeless people to just be looked at as humans again and not like, you know,
Like ill.
Yeah. Right? Essential workers. Like I even had to like check myself looking at food industry people. Like I had worked in the food industry and would be treated like whatever. And I was at the top of leadership in that and treated like whatever. And to be like, wow, but we're essential.
Mm.
Let's remember that we're humans and be kind and then live accordingly.
That's beautiful. We're all
Thank you.
It's beautiful. I'm inspired. I am.
1 out of 7.8. Yes.
Yeah, so you got me. So like, hey, look, if I can go and just be kinder and you know, be human, treat everybody as such, that might change. That might inspire 5.
Yeah.
And you got 6.
There you go.
See that math?
Wow, I'm proud of you.
I was not a math major.
It's okay. It's overrated.
Yeah, it is.
Don't even use half of it anymore.
Oh no, couldn't have been me. That's all I have to say about that. But I appreciate you coming over. Wisdom in the room.
Thanks.
Yeah, this is
Thanks
awesome.
for coming all the way to LA for me to do this.
Really, I know it's crazy. I'm like, LA. I keep thinking like, dang, I'm really in LA. Man, I'm here. And thank you for real.
Yeah, no, this was great. This is fun. I'm excited for the rest of your tour and what you will get people to discover about themselves and to bring out and hear, like for other people to hear as well. So thank you for having me.
No problem. I appreciate you. 2 more stops.
2 more stops.
San Fran and Washington. Seattle, Washington.
You can't say San Fran when you go.
Wow.
You gotta call it San Francisco or the city.
Why?
Because it's like a thing. Like they're gonna know that you're not like from there. San Fran.
So the city.
The city.
I like the city.
Yeah.
All right. The city.
You're welcome. I'm now a West Coaster.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for dropping that gem. I'm gonna call people out like, oh, you're not from here. You're not from here. No, that's cool. Well, I can't wait till this comes out and people hear this. I think they're gonna be inspired by
That'll
it
be fun.
for sure. Appreciate you. This is Matthew Gibson on Wisdom in the Room. I'm here with Derrica, Barbie girl in the Barbie world.
Oh my gosh. And we're done.
I always say that. Stay care. Y'all take care. Stay blessed. Peace.
Nice.